Before I get into these two articles, these two breaking news articles, I just want to say that I find it absolutely amazing and always have the cadre of individuals. They'll roll out and sit down in front of the camera and lie to your face about how we need to make more gun regulations and restrictions and laws to make law-abiding citizens go through background checks so we can keep guns out of the hands of criminals. Enter Art Acevedo. I don't know if you remember him. He's the police chief for the Houston Police Department, and he got a lot of airtime about 6 or 7 months ago when 5 of his officers were injured in a drug bust gone bad. But we'll get to that in a second. I just want to remind you what Art was saying at that time.
I think that the American people, gun owners, the vast majority of which are pragmatic and actually support gun sense and gun reform in terms of keeping guns in the right hands.
Gun sense, gun reform, keeping guns in the right hands. Translation, Art Acevedo got on the news many, many times in different networks talking about how we need to initiate more gun control, stricter background checks, universal background checks, and magazine bans, and gun bans. Art Acevedo doesn't give a damn about the Second Amendment. He never did, and he never will. The whole time, Art Acevedo is trying to convince us Americans that we need to institute all these gun regulations. He was involved in a cover-up for the Houston Police Department. Listen to him on this one right here. This is right after the incident where the 5 police officers got injured during this failed drug bust, which we're going to talk about in a second.
That I would express my personal frustration at lawmakers that know that we have a public health epidemic in this country that we call gun violence. We know that.
So he's towing the party line and using all the favorite euphemisms and buzzwords.
That for whatever reason they offer a lot of prayers, but you know what? We don't need prayers from. We didn't elect people to pray for us. We elect people to lead us. We elect people to make public policy decisions, not based on whatever.
We elected people so they can make more rules and we can go out there and enforce them.
Their primary, the politics of primary politics, right? Because only the base is basically. And sooner or later, we will reach a point in our country where we're going to say, we're not doing enough about gun violence.
And speaking of not doing enough about gun violence, Art Acevedo and his cadre of yahoos over at the Houston Police Department were involved in their own initiations of gun violence. And that brings us to the breaking news. Let's go over this is from NBC right here. Ex-Houston police officer charged with murder after deadly drug raid. I don't know if you remember this, but a lot of alt media covered this story and at the time was calling the Houston Police Department a group of thugs and murderers who went in and killed this man and this woman and their dog for no freaking reason. A former Houston police officer was charged with 2 counts of murder for allegedly lying to justify warrants for a January drug raid that killed 2 people and wounded 5 officers. Former narcotics officer Gerald Goins, and that's this guy right here, allegedly fabricated information, go figure, no way, cops wouldn't do that, in order to obtain the search warrants on the belief that the suspects in the home were dealing black tar heroin. The raid resulted in a shootout that killed the house's 2 occupants, Dennis Tuttle, 59, and Regina Nicholas, 58, and their dog. Goins was charged with 2 counts of murder, while former partner Stephen Bryant was charged with tampering with a government record. And that's according to Harris County prosecutors. Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg said, under Texas law, if during the commission of one felony, in this case tampering of a government record, a person commits an act clearly dangerous to human life, and it was, that causes the death of another, and it did, in this case 2 deaths, it's first-degree murder. We call that felony murder. Today, we charge Gerald Goins with 2 counts of felony murder, and I say amen. Both officers were expected to surrender Friday. Prosecutors will ask for $250,000 bail for Goins and $100,000 for Bryant. So what are the details? Police documents say the warrant for the Harding Street home was justified by claims that a confidential informant, keep that in mind, brought heroin there and saw a weapon. Investigators trying to find that informant were given two names by Goins, who was one of the 5 officers wounded in the raid. Both informants denied working on the case or buying drugs at that address. Goins later admitted there was no confidential informant, and he was the one who purchased the drugs, according to prosecutors. The interview was taped. He answered in writing. Bryant was accused of making false claims after the raids to help cover Goins, like they always do. Guys, you got to cover for the thin blue line, right? It's not about justice. It's about covering for your buddies, the boys in blue. Both officers later retired. The eyes of this community, and this is Og again, the eyes of this community and the nation are on this case. And yes, they should be. It is critical to the public trust that we reveal the true facts about what, how, and why 2 civilians were killed in their own home by members of the Houston Narcotics Squad 15. Family and friends of Tuttle and Nicholas have always maintained the 2 never sold drugs. Small amounts of marijuana and cocaine were found in the house, but no heroin. You know what, guys? This is about dangerous freedom. You can do whatever you want to with your own body. Just don't reach out your hand to harm somebody else. During a community meeting in February, Houston Police Chief Art Acevedo vowed to end the practice of no-knock search warrants. He said officers will need to request a special exemption from his office to conduct a no-knock raid. And get this, Og announced in February that the office would review more than 1,400 criminal cases spanning Goins' decades-long career. Prosecutors said in April that 27 of those cases, which were pending at the time, would be dropped. Think about all the people that were jailed because of this one bad cop. And how many other bad cops do you think there are? How many other innocent people do you think died or are sitting behind bars right now because of the corruption of the Houston Police Department? This is infuriating. And the Houston Chronicle here says it's not 1,400 cases, it's 14,000 cases. So whether it's 1,400 or 14,000, it doesn't matter. That represents a lot of people, a lot of potentially innocent people. And here you got Police Chief Art Acevedo getting up there telling us how we need more gun control. We need more gun confiscation. We need more gun bans on you guys, on me, on families around this nation. When the whole time he's the police chief for the corrupt Houston Police Department. I say show no mercy toward these guys. A stream can rise no higher than its source. The source for the Houston Police Department is Police Chief Art Acevedo. Share this video with everybody you know and leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.